Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Hope you guys have saved some room in that gas tank because it's time to go one more round with Rob. Here today, we're going to be breaking down the top-ranked boxing card from this past Friday afternoon. They were fighting over in France, so they had a Friday afternoon card. This card was headlined by Tony Yoka versus Tambwe Djeko in a heavyweight bout. Fun fact for the card: Tony Yoka's wife actually fought earlier on the card. I was going to break down that fight. However, the live feed that I got, even from ESPN, for some reason cut out the first round and a half to first 2 rounds of that fight. So I was not able to break that fight down completely for you guys. So I didn't want to give you guys a abbreviated fight for any reason. I wanted to give you guys a full fight breakdown. So I have a couple of other fights that I substituted for that fight. So let's get into it. First fight that we ended up breaking down was Warren Asabe versus Suleiman Kardom. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name. I apologize. Let's get into it. Round one, Asabe comes out. He starts off with multiple jabs. Kardom is landing good jabs as well. So they kind of come out in a normal boxing type of style. They're kind of using their jabs, trying to find their range. Throughout the first minute, they end up clinching and kind of throwing some really in close, what most people would call kind of dirty boxing types of exchanges, which to me was a little at least unusual. I don't think you normally see a lot of those exchanges in the first minute of a first round. But we got it here. Neither man really got any kind of advantage out of it. Just something I noted that was a little out of the ordinary, at least for the fights that I've seen in boxing. Midpoint of the round, both guys are exchanging again, throwing anywhere from 4 to 6 punch combinations. And both guys are actually starting to mix up, trying to go to the head and the body. So this first round was really good, at least in the first half of the round, with both guys getting into the exchanges, mixing up levels, trying to find their range. The first half of the round actually seemed pretty even to me. At the end of the round, it was Asabe kind of landing a little bit of the harder shots and landing a little bit more and a little bit better, in my opinion. So I ended up giving him the round 10-9. Both men were they were just in a give and take in that round. It wasn't one guy coming out and finding a rhythm early and staying in the rhythm and taking charge of the round. They were both kind of in a give and take. It was truly almost a feeling out round for both guys. Not much more to say than that for that first round. Like I said, I thought Asabe landed a little bit better and a little bit harder, especially in that second half of the round. So I ended up giving him the round 10-9. Round two, again, both guys come out. They're starting to exchange jabs. But Asabe appears more confident, at least in the beginning of this round. He's actually holding his hands a little bit lower, actually down towards his chest more. In the first round, he was still up by his chin, but I guess whatever he felt from Kardom in the first round there, he just felt that he wasn't afraid to take on the chin at that point, which I don't think is a smart move for any fighter in any weight class, regardless of any factors. I just don't think it's smart because any guy, any girl in there can, they can land a shot and, it's night time if they can land it right. So I don't think that it was the best thing, but he gets away with it here. So I guess, what do I know what I'm talking about? Anyway, so Asabe comes out, like I said, holding his hands a little bit lower, and he's actually targeting the body of Kardom more to begin this round. So again, I want to say it's a classic move, especially with somebody that wants to try to wear at the gas tank of their opponent. They want to wear them down. They want to make them more tired. They really want to be able to succeed more in those later rounds, because the other guy's tired because he's just gotten hit in the body so much that all the wind is really just out of him, and it's just a struggle for him. Cardum seems to be targeting the head more, which ends up playing to Asabe's advantage, because as Cardum's going to the head, Asabe's kind of almost ducking under the punches and landing to the body. But Cardum actually begins to land, closer to the middle portion of the round, to minute left in the round. Cardum ends up beginning to land a little bit better. And I think it was just because Asabe's confidence was just, it was almost having him in kind of a showboat kind of form. It wasn't, an overly, like, you could tell he was showboating, but it was definitely, he wasn't as, I guess, focused, for lack of a better word, on, trying to get Cardum out of there. So Cardum ends up landing a little bit better because of it. At the end of the round, both guys get in a flurry. They have a couple of flurries throughout the rest of the round, but really the end of the round is where they had, I think, their biggest one. And that's kind of how the round ends. Both guys land pretty well within the flurries. I just think Asabe ended up landing a little bit better in the flurries. I think he had the harder shots in them. So again, I gave him the round 10-9. Cardum's got to do really something in these next two rounds to at least get a draw, in my opinion. So we come out for round 3. And Asabe starts off with a quick combo. Not a lot of it landing. Cardum kind of covers up, using some decent movement to get out of the way of some of the shots. But, Asabe comes out. And at that point, Asabe just comes out and he just puts pressure on him. Is kind of what I think he was going for. I don't know if he was looking for a knockout shot in there. He was just kind of looking to put pressure on him because I think his corner let him know, like, hey, you got to keep on this guy. Like, the playfulness in there that we had in the last round kind of costed us a couple of shots in there that, we probably shouldn't have eaten. Both guys, through the midpoint of the round or so, are landing pretty good shots each way. Again, I think Asabe is landing a little bit of the harder shots. Cardum's just kind of more of a touching shot, in comparison. But Cardum, that is definitely having more success with his hooks and uppercuts, and kind of a combination between the two, of like it's called a shovel punch, where it's kind of a combination of a hook and an uppercut. So he's kind of landing better with those than he is with the straight shots. Asabe's kind of covering up better when Cardum's throwing those straight shots at him. But nonetheless, those punches still count just as much as straight punches do. So he's still landing well. Asabe's also landing with a good variety though. He's landing his straight punches as he has been the other two rounds of the fight. But now he's also trying to mix in his hooks and his uppercuts. Again, just to give Cardum a different look. Mixing up the punches in boxing are almost kind of like, a guy shooting in for a takedown, or at least feinting like he's going to shoot in for a takedown in MMA. It's all, you always got to mix it up no matter what sport you're doing, even in boxing, where it's like, okay, well, he's only punching at me. Yeah, but there's a bunch of different ways that he can put those punches and the combinations together, and that's what both Cardum and Asabe are starting to do. They're starting to mix up their variety of punches that they're throwing at the other guy. Both guys still exchanging in more of a you go, I go fashion, as they did in the first two rounds. So, Asabe will throw, however number of punch combo, and then he'll kind of sit back for a second, and Cardum will throw however many punch combo, and he'll kind of sit back for a second, and Asabe will go, he'll sit back, Cardum will go. It's just it's a you go, I go kind of style. It was definitely a very interesting that Asabe chose to do that, because in my opinion, he seemed to be landing the better shots. He seemed to be in more of the control aspect of the fight. So I didn't understand why he was just kind of settling for that you go, I go type of fight. Again, this round, Asabe's landing slightly harder shots. I think they both landed pretty well against each other. Again, it was a you go, I go situation. So to me, it was a little more difficult to tell of who actually landed more shots or more clean shots, just because of the manner in which it was happening. But again, I thought Asabe landed the harder of the shots, so I gave him the round 10-9. So at this point, I have 3 rounds to none for Asabe. In my opinion, Cardum has to come out and, stop Asabe. In my opinion, there was no other way for him to get a victory at that point. So round 4 comes out. It's still a you go, I go, and this was I was really thinking that Asabe was going to come out and show in that 4th round that he was going to be the dominant fighter in that round, and really kind of put an exclamation point on the fight, whether he finished Cardum or whether it went to a decision. I was really expecting him to come out and put a stamp on it and say, this has been my fight. This will be my round again. This will, be my win. But it was a you go, I go again. And I don't know if that was strategy by Asabe or if it was just kind of how everything played out. But it's just the way it felt to me. Again, could be wrong, but that's how I saw it. That's how I felt about it. About the midpoint of the round, though, Asabe lands 2 good hard hooks right to Cardum, and it gets Cardum's attention. It definitely shakes. It definitely got Cardum shook a little bit there, and I think if he took advantage of that, then Asabe would have been able to maybe finish him, or at least get a ruled knockdown. Whether or not he actually knocked him down, or whether or not the ref said, "Hey, let's give him a standing 8 count," whatever. I definitely think he would have had that opportunity had he kind of pushed forward a little bit more off of those 2 hooks, but he didn't. The 2 go on. There's definitely more clinching in this round. I definitely think Cardum's the more tired of the fighter. More tired of the 2 fighters, that is. But in the clinch, I feel like he's landing the better shots up until the referee separates them. He lands better in this round than he did in the previous 3 rounds. I think Asabe in this round really just kind of he put it on cruise control, in my opinion. From when I was watching it, he just seemed on cruise control. He seemed like he knew he had the first 3 rounds in the bag, and he was just going to kind of sail it out from there. So Cardum, in my opinion, takes advantage of this, starts landing the better shot, starts landing more shots than he did in the first 3 rounds there. Like I said, Asabe did have those 2 good hard hooks there, but other than that, Cardum's really landing more than Asabe is in this round, in my opinion. End of the fight, they end with an exchange. Again, I think Cardum lands a little bit more just because Asabe is just, like I said, I think he cashed it in on those first 3 rounds and was like, I'm good, like I've got the win, I just need to not get knocked out. So I think Cardum ended up getting the advantage in that exchange. So I didn't know who to score that last round for, but I did think that Cardum did a lot better in that round than the previous 3 rounds, and I could have definitely saw him winning the round. So the fight ends. We go to the judges' scorecards. It ends up being a unanimous decision win for Warren Asabe. All 3 judges scored it to him. They read the scores off in French, and while I took 3 years of French in high school, I don't remember much. So I can tell you what my name, I can say hello, and I can tell you what my name is. I can say a couple of other things that may get me around in France if I ever go there. Other than that, I don't think I can count past 10 anymore. So obviously after the first round, I'm pretty much out of the loop on how to count for them. So I don't know what the scores are. I'm sure they have been posted. I just have not seen them yet. So either way, unanimous decision win for Warren Asabe. Like I said, I thought it was pretty apparent from watching the fight that Asabe was going to get the win, and I think he could have. I think he could have won that last round. I believe they did give the last round to Cardum. or they at least gave 1 round to card him, because I don't believe they said a number that sounded like what I would remember 40 to sound like in French. Again, don't take my word for it because I don't really remember a lot, but I think if Wasabi had kind of kept on the gas pedal a little bit more like he did in the first 3 rounds, he could have got all 4 rounds for him. Either way, a win's a win. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. We all know this. He got the win. Great job. Let's see what's next for these guys coming up in the future here. Second fight we broke down, Farhad Saad versus Borislav Ivanov. So round 1 for this fight. Again, both guys come out and they start throwing jabs, really trying to find their range. So these first 2 fights that I've broken down, they came out, started finding jabs. Pretty par for the course boxing bouts here. Saad lands a good jab though that just really snaps Ivanov's head back. And from there it just kind of started to shift towards Saad in this round. Ivanov starts targeting the body early, which I think was really smart. Like I said, that guys start targeting the body, the other guy starts to get worn down a lot quicker because that gas tank just empties so much quicker. Regardless, when you get hit, that gas tank's going to take a toll. It's going to take a toll on the gas tank. But when you get hit to the body, I think it just takes a little bit of a bigger toll than if you get hit to the head or anything like that. So Ivanov, I think, doing a good job targeting the body early. Saad is targeting the head, and he's throwing hard. It's almost like he wants to get Ivanov out of there in the first round, which not always the best idea, because the more you throw power punches, the more your gas tank gets drained too. Because no matter how good of shape you're in, the body really only has so much in the gas tank. You can only go hard for so long before the body's going to start telling you, hey, we got to slow down. And in a fight, it's when the body tells you, hey, it's time to start slowing down. That could be bad for you. Because if your body wants to start slowing down, but the other guy's body doesn't, it's not going to work out well for you in most cases. So he's throwing hard. Ivanov appears to be moving forward more than Saad in this round, and he seems to be dodging Saad's hooks. But off of those dodges for the hooks, Saad's landing good uppercuts. And he's doing it pretty much whenever he wants. And, that's kind of how the round plays out. As Ivanov's moving forward, Saad's throwing hooks, dodging, getting caught with the uppercut. Ivanov getting caught, that is. Ivanov going to the body, Saad going to the head. And Saad's kind of landing to Ivanov's head as he's going to the body, which was, it's always a risk to go to the body if you don't mix it into a combo. But Ivanov thought he had the best course to go to the body early and wear the gas tank and then go up high late, is what I would assume the game plan was. But Saad was just kind of taking that away from him. So the round ends, and I think Saad took the round 10-9. I think he landed the better shots. I think he was landing better off of Ivanov's body shots. Ivanov's going into the body, like I said, Saad landing there, and then I think Saad landing the uppercuts off of the kind of setting him up with the hooks, and then landing the uppercuts. I think that played into him winning the round, in my opinion. So round 2 comes, Ivanov comes right out, and again starts going right to the body. So at this point, I'm fairly confident it was a game plan that Ivanov was like, I'm going to come out, I'm going to hit him in the body, I'm going to wear his gas tank, and then we're going to, take him out later in the fight. Normally a great game plan. However, Saad's jab tonight, or that night, afternoon, however you guys want to say it, his jab was really working well. And in this round, again, he stuns Ivanov with a hard jab, and just, it was interesting to me to see it happen 2 rounds in a row where Saad was like, hey, I snapped your head back with it in the first round, and I'm going to go right back to it in the second round. Boom. Again, stuns Ivanov, and then just starts to take control right after that. He starts landing more frequently. He starts landing harder shots. He's really taking control. Evenall is kind of on the defense at this point. He's landing good shots, but only when he's able to get on the inside. So if Saad keeps him on the outside like he was able to do throughout a good portion of the round, then Saad controlled that portion of the fight. On the chances that Evenall was able to get on the inside, that's when he was able to land the better shots, in my opinion, especially to the body. Like I said, he was landing to the body really well in the first round, and he came out in this second round and started landing to the body again. When he got on the inside, he was landing good body shots, a couple of good head shots. Unfortunately, I don't think Evenall got on the inside enough in this round after he got hit with that hard jab to warrant winning him the round. I mean, Saad's jab throughout the round was just kind of keeping Evenall on the outside range. He was hitting him. He was landing it hard, and then he was just kind of landing other punches off of it. I thought Saad 10-9 won the round easily, in my opinion. I didn't think Evenall did much to argue that he should have won the round. Round 3, Saad comes out and he's throwing his jab again. I mean, you were landing it hard the first 2 rounds. I don't think you should stop trying to throw it. Especially in boxing, boxing, MMA, kickboxing, everything works off the jab. Your jab is kind of your range finder. I know there are some guys now, more so in like MMA, and I would probably venture to say kickboxing and Muay Thai as well, where they're actually, if they're typically an orthodox fighter, so their right hand would be in the back, that would be like their power hand. They're starting to fight southpaw and have that right hand in the front, so that jab is almost like that guy's just getting hit with a straight, if they land a jab straight combo, it's almost like the guy's getting hit with 2 straights. Boxing, you don't see it so much yet. I think you could in the future. But I mean, Saad's coming out and he's throwing that jab, and it's connecting hard, and Evenall's trying his best to keep moving forward to get Saad on the ropes so that he can get in close and he can land to the body and he can put his combinations there. Saad's just landing hard though, and so as much as Evenall gets him to the ropes a couple of times and he lands a good couple of combos and flurries and stuff, Saad just keeps landing the jab and landing his other shots off of that, and really just controlling the fight still, and especially with the hard shots. And Saad actually lands a shot that ends up knocking Evenall's mouthpiece out, which then allows the ref to go over and pick up the mouthpiece, give the 2 a break, let Evenall's corner kind of rinse it off with the water bottle before they put it back in his mouth, and restart. So it almost gave Evenall a slight break in the middle of the round, which was probably good for Evenall, again, because Saad was kind of controlling the round still, and landing the harder shots. So Evenall really kind of needed that slight break, in my opinion. But even after the break, Saad comes out. He's landing at will. Again, I thought it was a pretty easy round to score. I gave it to Saad 10-9. In an 8-round fight that this was, coming through 3 rounds and looking as impressive as he did in those first 3 rounds, I really thought, Evenall had to pick it up in this middle round in the back half of the fight. Otherwise, Saad was just going to kind of run away with it. So round 4 comes out, and Evenall comes out quick, which may have leaned more towards he wasn't overly tired or his gas tank wasn't overly drained, which is good for him because, like I said, this is only round 4 of an 8-round fight. This is, our halfway point round, kind of, so to say. And he comes out quick, but Saad's able to respond to it. So, he Evenall comes out quick. He starts landing, again, some shots to the body, mixing up a couple shots to the head, kind of getting Saad up against the ropes again. But Saad's able to respond. He's able to, answer back to Evenall's shots. Again, Saad lands more. I would say Saad landed the more stinging shots than Evenall did. But Evenall, he's landing better this round. He and I think it's It's partially because he's starting to get a little bit of better timing on his part. He's also doing better at slipping some of the shots from Saad. I don't know if Saad was starting to slow down comparatively as he was in the first 3 rounds, but either way, Evenall is able to slip more of the shots there. Saad is also landing his shots from the outside well still. So it's still leaning towards Saad being able to control Evenall as long as he can keep Evenall on the outside. But the thing is, Evenall starts to get inside a little bit better in this round and almost a little easier. So he gets inside a couple more times than he did in the first 3 rounds on Saad there. But Saad ends around with a hard right uppercut that, I think if they had a little bit more time in the round, he could have acted on it a little bit more and maybe have gotten a knockdown in the round. So a closer round. I just thought Saad squeaked it out just barely enough, and maybe it was because of that hard right uppercut right there at the end of the round. But I thought he squeaked it out just enough for the 10-9. I could be wrong on this. A lot of people could have scored it for Evenall, especially because, like I said, he had a better round. I just thought Saad was still able to keep him on the outside more, and like I said, it could just be because that hard right uppercut right at the end of the round, kind of the last thing that you have in your head there, was enough to squeak it out for Saad to me. Round 5, Evenall comes out and he lands the first good punches of the round. So he comes out and he lands a good couple hard punches. Again, that's comparative to how he was landing in the first 4 rounds. Saad answers, with quite a few jabs. Like he just started throwing jabs out there, just jab, 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 jab. He threw a couple straights and hooks mixed in there, but a lot of it was just jabs. And I think it was just because, he had success in the first 3 rounds, 4.5 rounds there, or 3.5 rounds, excuse me, there with his jabs. So why not stick with something if it's not broken, So he's just jab, 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 a couple straights, a couple hooks in there. Saad, that is, still landing his good hard hooks, deep into the round. He's not. It's not like he's just going to the well and only relying on his jab. He's mixing everything in there. But again, hard jab from Saad ends up snapping the head of Evenall back again, and then he does it again with a hard uppercut just after that. It was maybe 2 or 3 seconds after that jab landing. He throws a good hard uppercut, so it was a boom kind of thing. And Saad does a lot better job keeping Evenall on the outside this round. So that's kind of how the whole round went. Evenall came out in the first 15-20 seconds there and starts landing some good punches. Saad comes out there with those jabs and just says, okay, cool, doom, 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 just hitting with those jabs, and again, like I said, it's some straights and hooks mixed in there. Lands the hard hooks throughout the round. That hard jab, hard uppercut that snapped Evenall's head back on both landings. It just kind of set the round and the pace for Saad to be able to do his best work, in my opinion, up to this point of the fight. Again, 10-9. I thought this one was definitely an easy round to score for Saad. At this point, I thought Evenall had to do something spectacular in these last 3 rounds if he wanted to even think about getting a draw. Or he would just have to finish Saad if he wanted to get the win, in my opinion. So round 6, Evenall opens up with a pair of jabs. Not really a bad idea, seeing as Saad had success with those as well. But Saad starts backing Evenall up this time. So instead of Evenall being the one backing Saad up, Saad ends up backing Evenall up. Into the ropes, into the corner. Evenall is trying to answer back, but Saad's just landing, and he's keeping Evenall back on those ropes. Saad lands a good, hard 1-2 combo. Both guys, when they're on the inside with each other, are landing good shots. Hard hook from Saad that lands, hurts Evenall as he's trying to get inside. And again, Saad's shots they're just landing harder than Evenall's are. But Evenall's not going anywhere. He's sticking in there. He's holding steady. It's not like he's fading, in my opinion. Again, 10-9 Saad. I don't think it's any surprise at this point. Like I said, I think especially in these last 2 rounds coming here now, I was like, Evenall's got to finish him. He's got to figure it out some way. Whether or not he could do it, I was like, I don't know. But that, I thought he had to finish him, definitely. So round 7, Evenall starts off some good jabs and straights, trying to almost kind of flip what he had been trying to do the rest of the fight. I would assume it's like, look, that wasn't working. Let's try something else. But unfortunately, I just don't think it worked for him. So the first minute, Saad's trying to keep Evenall on the outside. Evenall is able to get inside and land, but then Saad is able to land when they separate. And I think, he's landing better on those separations. He's landing the harder shots on those separations than Evenall is on the inside. And then he's also landing better when he's on the outside. And it's just as he has up to this point in the fight. Like, it's not, I don't think at this point anything surprising to you guys that I'm saying Saad is landing better when he's keeping Evenall on the outside, and Evenall is landing a little bit better when he gets onto the inside. So Evenall is, just kind of getting almost, so to speak, picked apart on the outside, but he's starting to take deeper breaths and kind of backing up as Saad is landing now. So that kind of lends to the belief that he's tired. It's almost, so to say, gassed out. Saad ends the round landing really well to the head of Evenall. 10-9 round for Saad. I mean, like I said, coming out, for round 8, the final round of the fight, Evenall's got to finish Saad if he wants to win. I don't think there's any way he could get a draw, even with a knockdown of Saad, even with 2 knockdowns of Saad. I don't think there's any way he can get a draw. He's got to finish to get the win. Saad starts this round fast, hard jab. Fast and hard jab. Kind of his go-to thing throughout the whole fight. Evenall is eating shots from Saad, almost at Saad's will. I mean, he's landing whenever he really wants to. And at this point, it seems that Evenall is just nearing the end of his gas tank and he's trying to remain competitive, but he's ultimately almost just kind of trying to survive. And just because of that, Saad controls the round. And I gave it to him 10-9. So I think I give every round to Saad there. I thought he clearly won the fight. We go to the judge's decision. He does get the unanimous decision win. So it's a unanimous decision win for Saad. I thought Evenall showed really great heart, really, really great ability to hang in there and try to stay as competitive as he could. It just wasn't his night. Great job on Saad. He really put the stamp on it, especially in that last round, that this was my fight. I'm going to finish it as my fight. So now we get into the main event. Tony Yoka versus Joel Tambwe Djeko. Like I said, Yoka's wife had fought earlier on this card. So it was a very rare occurrence that a husband and wife fought on the same card. They got it this night, though. I don't think it plays into the fight at all. I thought it was a very interesting thing that the husband and wife were fighting on the same card. I thought it was really cool. Regardless, let's get into the fight. Round 1, Yoka starts off throwing jabs. Par for the course for boxers, I would say. Djeko answers with a few jabs of his own. Again, par for the course. Both men are trying to mix up the shots early, though. They're trying, mixing up the shots. They're trying to start to gain momentum from the get-go, which I thought was really interesting. The Djeko has a good combo that kind of forces Yoka to cover up with just under a minute left, and Yoka Yoka pretty much used the round to try to pick his shots more than throwing for volume. Djeko was almost kind of more of a pressure fighter that I would say in this round. He was, I think he was really trying to put more of the punches out there than Yoka was. I think Yoka was just trying to figure out how Djeko was going to come in here and fight the fight that he wanted to try to fight at least. And Yoka was just like, okay, I'm just going to figure out how you want to fight me and then see if I can flip the script on you and make you not be able to fight that way. But throughout the round, and I'm not saying that Yoka just didn't throw punches at all this round. He threw punches, and he was more tactical, so to speak, in how he wanted to pick his shots, rather than just throwing shots to throw shots. And I think it worked better for him overall. I think his landing percentage was better. And for that reason, I gave him the round 10-9. I just thought he landed better. I thought he landed, a landing percentage-wise, more of the shots that he threw than the Djeko did. Round 2, Yoka comes out, and he's a little more aggressive this round. Excuse me. He's moving forward more, and he starts throwing a little bit earlier than he did in that first round. About 50 seconds into the round then, Yoka lands a good combo to the head and body of Djeko. And that, I think that kind of gets Djeko's attention, and I think it kind of caps off that aggressive early start that Yoka had. Djeko then lands a good hook to the body, and then a hook to the head. About a minute and 40 into the round of Yoka onto to the body and head of Yoka, excuse me. So, I mean, they both kind of had their moment there early in the round where they were able to land. Yoka lands a good overhand right in the last minute, and he starts landing more shots on his combos in that last minute of the round, and he ends up ending the round walking Djeko down. So because of that, the good combo he landed early and the success he had in that last minute and a half of the round, I gave Yoka the round 10-9. Through the first 2 rounds, I thought it was a really good fight. Those were my thoughts through the first 2 rounds. I think both guys are landing. Both guys are, trying to be the one to take control of the fight, which 9 times out of 10 always makes for a good fight. So round 3, Djeko comes out. He starts this round off a little more aggressive, throwing some more combos. But unfortunately for him, Yoka starts backing him up with just pressure. So he's just kind of he's slipping and blocking the shots, and he's just kind of starting to just move forward on Djeko. He's backing him up pretty much with pressure. He does land a good few hard shots, but backing Djeko up really just started with the pressure, really just started with the moving forward of it. Yoka's working his jab more to the body this round, and he's landing flurries when he gets Djeko caught on the ropes. So because of that moving forward pressure, he starts to get Djeko up against the ropes and the corners, and he really just starts to capitalize off of that. Once he gets Djeko on the ropes and he's back here, that's when he really starts to move in and starts to land a couple of flurries of shots there. He's able to do it fairly consistently throughout the round too. And the round ends with Yoka having Djeko pressed up against the ropes, pressuring him, landing some shots. So Yoka really kind of, I think in this third round, Yoka really, figured out the path to success with him against Djeko. I gave him the round 10-9 again. Round 4 comes out. Like I said, Yoka, I think, has figured out the game plan. He starts backing Djeko up almost immediately in this round. He's still getting him on the ropes. He's still picking his shots through the opening minute of the round. And then Yoka just starts landing jabs and straights better, and that's kind of what his corner asked him to do in between rounds 3 and 4. They said, hey, let's get that jab and straight working more, and then that'll open up for your hooks and uppercuts, which is 100% true. Makes a lot of sense. And they really wanted him to get back to that jab and straight, so those hooks and uppercuts that he wants to throw, more of the what would be considered more powered or stronger punches, would be able to land more. So Yoka's jab's landing almost every time he throws it this round. I don't understand how Djeko just didn't have an answer for the jab. It's literally the first punch you learn how to throw when you're starting to box. So I don't know how. I don't know how the Djeko just wasn't blocking it. I mean, maybe it was just because Yoka was doing well enough to kind of hide when he was going to throw it, but Djeko's just not covering up for it. So Yoka's just kind of landing the jab every time, almost every time he wants to throw it. Djeko's trying to throw back, but Yoka's just he's using good movement. It's not so much of a stick and move game plan, but it's just good like head movement, good upper body movement to the ducking and dodging kind of thing to get out of the way of the Djeko shots. Round ends with Djeko just tying up with Yoka. I think he's just tired of getting hit, which, nobody wants to get hit for 3 minutes straight, but that was pretty much what Yoka did to Djeko. He just had him up against the ropes, had him in the corners, and was just kind of landing pretty much when he wanted to. I thought it was, again, easy round to score, 10-9 for Yoka. Round 5, I don't think it's any surprise at this point. He did in the last 2 rounds. Yoka starts out pressing Djeko again. Djeko starts to land with some good left hooks, though. So it was almost like he was trying to land the left hook off of Yoka's pressure coming in. Unfortunately, Yoka gets success at backing Djeko up again, even while Djeko is trying to throw those lead hooks. And again, he's landing shots when he gets Djeko up on the ropes. Again, I don't think this is any surprise. He did it the last 2 rounds. Yoka's landing is straight, a lot better than he was, in round 3. Again, in between round 3 and 4, his corner told him to get back to that jab and straight. He's landing that straight better than he did in round 3, kind of comparative to how well he landed it in round 4. And now he's starting to find success with more of his hooks and uppercuts again. So he got back to those jabs and straights, and it opened up for the hooks and uppercuts. Djeko's just trying to cover up in front instead of really worrying about what's coming around from the side or underneath of him. So, again, Djeko's trying to throw back. He's really throwing more wild shots this round, and mostly they don't land. A couple get through, but the story of the round was Yoka backing him up, getting the jabs and straights going again, and then getting those hooks and uppercuts mixed in there. Not as often as he was, round 3 and prior, but he was mixing in hooks and uppercuts, and they were starting to land for him again. If you guys had to guess, Yoka 10-9 won the round, in my opinion. I don't think it's a surprise, guys. Sorry. Round 6, Djeko actually opens up with a pair of good combos to start the round. So it was like, okay, maybe this guy's going to start to try to flip it back around and come back at him. Until Yoka starts using that jab again. Yoka just starts slipping that jab out there. It's effective. He's landing. Djeko through the first minute of the round, though, in my opinion, is more active. Yoka was just able to answer back. He was just able to answer back with success. So Djeko was more active. He was moving more. I think he was kind of pressing forward a little more. But it wasn't anything that Yoka wasn't able to withstand. It wasn't like it was anything Yoka wasn't able to withstand. Excuse me. Yoka was able to take it, and he was able to answer back, and he was able to answer back well. And then from about the halfway point on, Yoka, again, he's pressing Djeko, getting him up against the ropes and up against the ropes and in the corner. He's landing his shots. He's really kind of controlling the pace. He's landing the better shots at this point. A better round for Djeko, especially for how he started off in that first minute. But that last, minute and a half, 2 minutes around when Yoka came back on and really started pressing him again and getting him up against the ropes and in the corner and everything, that led to his success in this round. So 10-9 for Yoka. The Djeko's really he's got to figure something out in this back half of the fight, in my opinion. So round 7 starts. Yoka comes out. Guess what? He's throwing that jab again, and it backs Djeko up to start the round. He's backing him up. He's doing better at keeping Djeko on the ropes earlier in this round. Remember the last round, Djeko kind of started off in that first minute and a half area of doing well with trying to press on Yoka. And Yoka just does the same in this round that Djeko did in round 6 there. And he's pressing him back on the ropes early. He's getting him in the corner early. He's just landing consistently and backing Djeko up consistently on the ropes. And this is kind of that was the pretty much the whole thing of round 7 there, was Yoka coming out, and he's easily at this point backing Djeko up on the ropes and getting him in the corners. All that stuff. Very limited offense from Djeko in this round. Very limited. It was mostly Yoka. 10-9 round for Yoka, in my opinion. The Djeko just didn't have a lot to give him in that round. And I don't know if it was because he was getting tired or what, or if it was just Yoka just had the right formula in that round. I don't know, but the Djeko just didn't have a lot going for him. So it was an easy 10-9 round for Yoka. Round 8, the Djeko comes out. He opens the round trying to catch Yoka. I think at this point, him and his corner knew like they had to get a finish to win the fight. You know, I don't think that I think that they knew that they weren't going to be able to get a win off of points. So they're like, hey, let's try what we can. So he comes out and he's trying to catch Yoka. Yoka's able to avoid most of the flurry though. Again, some good upper body and head movement, ducking and dodging kind of thing. But you know, after that, he starts pressing, moving forward on Djeko again, starts landing his jabs, and they're just as crisp and fast as they were in you know, the first round. They're just as crisp and fast. They're landing well, and it appears that Djeko just hasn't adapted to be able to figure out how to cover up or get out of the way of Yoka's jabs and straights. And then Yoka starts going back to his hooks, but instead of throwing him to the head, he goes to the body more than he does the head. He does throw a couple of hooks to the head, but it was more towards the body, so I think that mixed it up on Djeko as well. Again, a dominant round for Yoka. I mean, like everything I just told you guys was pretty much the layout of round number 8 there. It was a 10-9 round for Yoka. Yoka's really in control of this fight. Djeko's got to figure something out in these last 4 rounds. He's just got to. So round 9 starts. Yoka comes out. Same pressure he's had throughout the fight thus far. Djeko's trying to throw to be able to circle back into the middle of the ring, but Yoka's just pressuring him, not allowing him to do that. Guys, I know it sounds like I'm being redundant here, but this was literally how the fight played out. Like Yoka's just pressing him. He's landing on Djeko when he's on the ropes, when Djeko, that is on the ropes or he's in the corner. Again, this was another round where Djeko was very defensive. He was, you know, just trying to not get hit by Yoka. I was trying to find more substance for you guys in this round, and it just wasn't there. Like it was literally just Yoka pressing Djeko up against the ropes, landing on him, Djeko trying to get back to the middle of the ring, and Yoka just either catching him in the corner or letting him circle back around and pressing him up against the opposite ropes. There was really not much other substance in that for you guys. 10-9 round for Yoka. Round 10 starts. Yoka, guess what, guys? He's pressing Djeko again. He's pressing him again. I wish it didn't sound like I was just repeating myself every round for you guys, but the Yoka was doing really well with this, and I can't knock the man for doing it. You know, he found a game plan that worked, and he stuck with it. Djeko's getting caught on the ropes and in the corner again. Yoka's landing pretty much at will this round, while you know Djeko, is mostly on the defense up against the ropes or in the corner. Yoka's landing, you know, hard shots. Everything that I told you last round was pretty much in round 9. That is pretty much happening again in round 10. Djeko starts to throw a little more in the last minute of the round, but Yoka's defense keeps a lot of the shots from landing, or at least landing clean. Yoka wins 10-9. So, I mean, I guess the silver lining in this was Djeko was really, you know, starting to throw a little more in the last minute of this round rather than just be almost completely defensive as he was in round 9. But that was pretty much it for him. You know, Yoka won the round 10-9. Round 11, Yoka starts off with a hard hook this time. The Djeko clinches immediately after that. He obviously doesn't want to get hit by Yoka anymore. Yoka's landing hard hooks to the body and the head. And again, Yoka's able to back the Djeko up onto the ropes, into the corner at will. The Djeko is trying to throw more this round. He's trying to throw more than he was in the previous few rounds, but Yoka's pressure is just wearing on his gas tank at this point. He's been moving back and trying to evade and trying to be out of the way so much. His gas tank's just, it's running low. And, that's pretty much how the round ends, is Djeko trying to get away from Yoka. Again, like I said, Yoka was pressing him. He was getting him on the ropes. He was landing. He was getting him in the corner. He's landing when he's up against the ropes. He's landing hard hooks to the body and the head. Those hard hooks to the body, obviously, were not helping Djeko's gas tank. And it was another round for 10-9, or another round for Yoka, excuse me, and I gave it to him 10-9. Round 12, Djeko's right eye, when he starts the round, noticeably swollen, and this is probably why Yoka was having more success with those hooks in the last few rounds, because that eye was starting to swell. It was starting to become harder for Djeko to see anything coming in from his periphery. But he comes out, and Djeko's throwing hooks, and he's presumably trying to catch Yoka and get a knockout, because he's got to know at this point that's the only way he can win. But Yoka is landing some good left hooks. Presumably, part of it is probably because of that right eye being swollen on Djeko. But I'm not going to give it 100% success to that. Yoka's still got to be able to throw it and land. Yoka at one point gets Djeko up against the ropes. Just starts to unload. Just starts unloading on him. The Djeko's trying to roll with the punches. He's trying to cover up. He's trying to get out of the way of most of them. But Yoka ends up landing a hard right hand on one of his punches. I forget whether it was a hook or just a straight. Regardless, it was a hard right hand. Lands to the head of Djeko, right in the temple area. And Djeko just he takes a second and then he just turns away. He turns away, faces towards the ropes. That's a clear and obvious sign that the guy's done. He doesn't want to fight anymore, or he's just taking too much punishment, and he doesn't want to take any more. So he turns away. The ref sees this, immediately steps in, stops the fight, and that's how this one shook out. And that's how this one ends. So Tony Yoka gets the TKO win in round 12. I don't blame Djeko for after that right hand landed for saying, hey, I'm good. I don't need to take any more of this. I don't blame him for that. I don't think it was a cowardly move. I don't think it was anything like that. If he felt that shot and he said, hey, I'm done, then he's done. He knew how the fight was playing out. He was obviously in the ring for it to play out that way. So I don't think it was anything cowardly or low or anything like that. If anything, I commend him for it, because any other he could have I don't want to say he could have easily stayed in there, but he could have stayed in there and taken the last, I forget how long it was, minute and a half or so, minute and a half to 2 minutes left of a what essentially amounts to a beating, and just had more damage put on his body. But he chose not to do that. He said, no, I'm done. And he got out of there without taking any more damage than he had up until that point in the fight. Great fight from Yoka, not taking anything away from him. Obviously, he made this happen. He landed it so much on Djeko that he made Djeko say, hey, I'm done. I don't want any more of this. So great fight from Yoka, good pressure. Great adjustment from his corner, too, in between those rounds 3 and 4, saying, hey, get back to those jabs and straights, and those hooks and uppercuts we'll get back to later in the fight, and they'll start finding homes better. Great adjustment there, and definitely worked to their advantage. So, great fight from Yoka. Can't wait to see what's next for him. Hopefully, Djeko goes back, heals up, gets that eye, if there's anything going on with that, gets that taken care of, and hopefully he can come out and have a better performance next time. So that's the show there, guys. Let me know what you guys thought down below. If you saw the card and you think I'm way off on something, let me know. We can discuss it. Other than that, make sure you guys hop over to Instagram and Facebook. Follow my pages on there. Both on Instagram and Facebook, it's One More Round with Rob. Facebook is One More Round with Rob. The Instagram handle is One More Round Rob. So you'll find my pages there. Follow and like those pages. I'm posting on them daily. And then don't forget on here, like, comment, subscribe, review, all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at a couple of different things to get it into a podcast form, to get it onto all the podcast platforms there. So that'll be coming out here shortly, hopefully. Other than that, hope you guys stay happy, healthy, and safe until the next show. And until then, congratulations, guys. You just went one more round with Rob. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next show.